Let's start off here with the potential market valuation, Liana. Roughly about $55 billion is what Bloomberg is reporting, less than the $70 billion that seemed to be chatted about, I don't know, just a few weeks ago. What gives?
There's a few things at play here. First of all, SoftBank is the big owner here of ARM, and they sold a chunk of stock, or they bought from the Vision Fund at a $64 billion valuation. So that number was out there. That was a bit lower. Now, this number is even lower, but remember, it's the beginning of the roadshow. They're going to be meeting investors this week, early next week, so the numbers could still go up. But it does seem that SoftBank is scaling back what they want to raise. Masayoshi Son, the CEO of SoftBank, doesn't want to part with as much of the company as he originally wanted to. He's very bullish on it, so they're selling just 10% to raise $5 billion. That's how you get to the $55 billion range. It's still huge for the IPO market, which has been horrible this year.
So huge for the IPO market, but it seems like chiefly this is extremely important for SoftBank if they're holding on to so much.
Right, and the company was bought out by SoftBank for $32 billion, so anything above that amount is sort of money in their pocket. Remember, they tried to sell to NVIDIA a few years ago for $40 billion, so we're still way above those amounts, and it could still continue to rise depending on investor demand. But it does seem like the headlines are a little negative today based on where they're starting the roadshow. But it's pretty common for IPOs to kind of temper expectations at the beginning and then raise it later.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, and whether that sort of euphoria ends up being raised in the secondary market. When I hear $55 billion, even the $70 billion valuation, obviously just on this stake, then of course everyone's going to look at NVIDIA's market cap, which is, last time I checked, $1.2 trillion. If these two folks are in the same game, at least relatively in the same game, then what gives there?
It's funny you mentioned NVIDIA. They're actually investing in the IPO. So maybe there's a little NVIDIA halo that will help ARM. And Apple and AMD and all these companies whose stocks are doing okay are all getting in on the IPO. They're buying up to $725 million. So there is a lot of support for this to succeed. So we'll see how it goes. If they raise up to $5 billion, though, that's still the biggest IPO of the year and is still one of the biggest tech IPOs of all time. But it's hard to say what investors are expecting out of the IPO market right now. There just hasn't been a lot of examples to look at.
Well, that's where I wanted to go because, of course, you do have all the high-profile names taking part in this IPO, and then there's the sheer size of it. And when you think about the state of the IPO market, if this goes through successfully, what could this mean in terms of some of the other companies in the pipeline?
There's going to be companies that are just a week behind them, like Instacart, Klaviyo with a K. It's a tech company. We also have Birkenstock, the sandal maker. And then there's Microsoft-backed Rubrik, which is a tech cybersecurity startup. So there's companies that are looking to go this September and October, depending on how ARM goes. But then there's the 2024 class. That's when we really will see the pent-up demand come out. That's when there could be dozens of companies that have been holding on in the private markets looking to go public. So this is going to be a huge event, not just for SoftBank, but for the whole IPO market.